We have there are 101 that have registered now. 111 rather.
I'm muted. Are you still there?
Yes, ma.
Okay, I don't know what's happening to my computer. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see. It's your mailbox, your desktop that I can see.
I put the backdrop. I don't know what happened, what I did, and it went back. So
come up when your video you turn on your video, but do you want to put it, share it as the people are in?
I want to put either this one or, but must my video be on?
Yeah, your video has
Can I just
on. This one is your background.
Yes.
But if you want to put, you just have to share normally. Yeah, if you want everybody, yeah, you just have to share normally, not from here, but the normal way you share on the share screen. So you just open it as a picture. So you just have to open. Yeah, you just need to open it as a picture on your system, then share your screen. Yep.
Okay. Okay. But if I leave this on now, at whenever I'm talking, this will show, right? Have I lost you again? I can't find this thing here now. But I put this thing on my screen now. It came on download now. Okay, can you see it now? Ufa, are you still there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is how it could be.
So once the other setting is on in the background, that's fine.
Yeah. You
Okay.
can have WIEN, yeah.
Okay, so people are coming in now. Okay, that's fine. I have made me the host. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Thanks. Is it possible to put a music in the background? Huh?
The Zoom panel is on, so you need to close. Hello, ma.
Is it possible to put a slight music in the background while people are coming?
Yeah, that will be on advanced. Do you have, sorry, do you have any music in mind?
Something, just something classical, not anything, just
Okay,
something to that is
okay,
not just that,
yeah.
nothing that. Where's my screen that I'm sharing?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I didn't realize that my audio was low.
Okay. I was just calling you. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't even hear you. So am I?
Yes, you're good to go.
All right, thank you so much. Oh dear. Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry about the slight issue with my audio. I had it on mute, so I didn't realize that I had been asked to speak. So my job here is very simple. It's to introduce introduce WIEN. My name is Fumi Obwe, and I'm the president of Women in Energy Network. And I'd like to warmly welcome you to this power meeting, which is one of our flagship programs. It's an opportunity for us to network, learn, and enjoy the company of each other, even though it's all virtual for now. But I'm sure as the world opens up some more, we'll have an opportunity to meet physically. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about WIEN. It's an association that was founded in 2020, and our singular objective is to enable women succeed in the energy industry. Our vision is to be that leading network that promotes the participation and advancement of women in leadership across the energy value chain in support of national development. And we have quite a few sort of initiatives that we do because we believe, or we see ourselves as that umbrella body to enable collaboration across all women networks in the sector. So we're very pro collaboration and partnerships. So we want to be that platform for women to network and develop their core skills and capabilities. We actively promote the interests of the girl child in STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and maths. We provide opportunities for coaching and mentoring for women in the sector. And we're very active as an advocacy voice in support of women participation and engagement in the sector. And we're quite vocal and active in the press as well, calling for increased participation, mentorship, and inclusion for women. We ensure that women have the requisite capabilities to support entrepreneurial ventures. And, we have three main areas where we work, like I said, on leadership, women in business, and on education. So we have an academy that focused on women succeeding. And the way that I see it is that we're united by passion to see women succeed. So this power meeting is, and each power meeting, which we have every 2 months, is focused on one sector in particular. So this one is focused on power, as you know. The last one we had was on gas, and all of us sort of huddle around each other to learn, engage, and network within that sector. So today, our moderator is Folake Soetan, who is the MD of Ikeja Electric. And I can see she's poised and ready to make sure that this event is very engaging. So thanks once again for coming. And I hope that you all enjoy the time that we have together this evening. Thank you. Folake.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic.
Loudly
Brilliant.
too.
All right, fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Sound check, sound check. Welcome, everyone, to our power meeting. I'm excited to be here and excited to be hosting this session, and looking forward to listening to our special guest, and I'm sure you all are also doing the same. As Mrs. Fumi Ogwe has explained, this is one of our power meetings, and I'll just try and dive straight into it and just give us a bit of a context as to why we are doing today's session. So the theme for today is powering for the future by leveraging on digital transformation in the power sector. That's the best way for us to be able to be positioned to ensure we achieve the objective of having power in Nigeria. Now, this topic is very, very dear to my heart because it aligns with our mantra in Ikeja Electric, which is customer first, technology now. And over the years, Ikeja Electric has transformed more than ever before, more than all we ever imagined. So we are actually operating the future now, as I fondly say, in the business. We try to continuously use technology in improving our efficiency as a business, especially as we are a key player, obviously, in the power sector. Although we're not where we would like to be as a business, but we've made very significant progress over the years. Now, since the pandemic hit, the need for technology in the power sector has become more apparent than ever before. And this is ranging for the use of technology in improving customer experience, in terms of trying to make sure we have system reliability, energy accounting, to workforce productivity, and all the various aspects of the power sector. Now, as we think of digital transformation in our various areas of expertise, we need to focus on how to have an effective and digital transformation journey, which will ensure that there's agility within this power sector in the nearest future. We are currently living in the future of 5 to 10 years really ago. And for us to ensure that the future we desire for the Nigerian power sector comes to pass, we need to start today. So today, we'll be hearing from some industry experts, people who are experienced in using technology to drive innovation, efficiency within their own area of expertise. The plan is for us to learn how they have used technology to achieve some of these objectives. It's also an opportunity for us to have an idea of how we can actually take advantage of what technology provides as a platform and an opportunity for every single person that is on this call. Please keep an open mind as we go through this session. There's so many things you can learn. There are endless possibilities of how we can use technology in building, obviously, the future power sector that we all desire. I'm sure everybody here wants to have 24-hour power, and technology is critical to us being able to achieve that objective. So welcome on board. Let's relax and listen to our speakers. Now, what I would do is try and quickly summarize the fantastic and rich biographies of, profiles of our speakers today. And I'll start with our very own Ifeoma Malo. So who is Ifeoma Malo? Ifeoma Malo is the CEO of Clean Technology Hub Energy Innovation Center and the former country campaign director for Power for All in Nigeria. She led the Nigerian campaign that promoted distributed renewable energy in Nigeria, and is one of the country's leading energy access experts. She helped to set up and incubate the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, WIEN, and has advised a range of government agencies on how best to support the market growth and engage both the national media, the faith community, and donor groups and agencies in promotion of distribution renewable energy. She has held senior policy advisory positions on energy policies, regulations, and partnerships at the Ministry of Power in Nigeria. Her focus areas lies with the global policy, project designs, strategy, and stakeholder partnership initiatives. Ifeoma Malo is a qualified attorney with degrees in law, business, and business policy. She's an African Leadership Initiative Fellow, a Fellow of Desmond Tutu Fellow. She's Crans Montana New Leaders for Tomorrow's Fellow, Global Leadership Academy Fellow, and she sits on numerous non-profit boards, which includes some of the following. She's on the board of West Africa Power Industry Convention, Future Energy Nigeria WAPIC, Budget, Positive Action Treatment Access, WIEN, Greenland Assistance Haven, Stop Scan, and SI4 Development. Ifeoma Malo is the African Power and Energy Elite, the Power Industry Leader of year 2020. I'll go over to our next speaker, which is Martin Uwoghiren. Mr. Martin is a proven information technology leader with experience in planning, design, implementation, and integration of cutting-edge technology solutions for leading finance, education, and utility companies around the globe. Martins has been helping companies expand their technological capabilities with proven track record in increasing productivity, quality, efficiency, and customer satisfaction. Prior to joining IBEDC, Martin spent over 20 years in information technologies with Energy Future Holdings, Reliance Energy, American Express, and General Motors in the United States. Most recently, he served as the group head of information technology for Ocean Marine Solutions, an oil and gas, and currently serves as the chief information technology officer of Ibadan Distribution Company in Nigeria. He holds a Bachelor's of Technology degree from City University of New York and a Master of Communication Information System from Pace University, New York. He has attended several professional training courses, both globally and overseas, and has membership with the Nigerian Computer Science Society, Information Systems Audit and Control Associations, PMI, Institute of Internal Auditors, amongst others. Mr. Ugochukwu Obichukwu. He is a chartered accountant with over 18 years experience in financial management, corporate finance, marketing, and change management. In 2014, Ugo joined the Sahara Group as senior finance manager and immediately assisted with the companies in its takeover of Ikeja Electric, one of Nigeria's largest power distribution companies with an annual revenue of over 100 billion. At Ikeja Electric, Ugo has worked at several capacities and was a pioneer head of the revenue mobilization, monitoring, and assurance team. The team is credited for helping develop some of the strategies and initiatives that have helped reduce the commercial and collection losses for Ikeja Electric. In 2019, Ugo was made the acting chief commercial officer, overseeing all commercial activities in Nigeria's largest power distribution company. During this time, the company achieved one of its lowest ATC&C losses ever. In 2020, the board of directors appointed Ugo as the chief marketing strategy officer of Ikeja Electric. As the chief marketing officer and strategy officer, he oversees services to the company's key account customers. He leads the team in charge of Ikeja Electric's bilateral power initiative. Ugo is also tasked with ensuring that Ikeja Electric takes advantage of how technological innovation, data analytics, and data-driven artificial intelligence to better serve its customers and beyond. Ugo is a certified member of the Investor Relations Society of the United Kingdom. He is a public speaker and regularly comments on matters of the Nigerian economy, the stock market, corporate Nigeria, and personal finance. He is also the founder of Nairametrics. So you have seen that we have a rich bio of the people that are going to be speaking to us today. So can you all grab your notepads and let us just listen intently as they start to share their experience, their insights on how we can use technology to power the future of Nigeria. Thank you very much. So I will welcome our first speaker today. That's Malo. Malo will be speaking to us for about 30 to 35 minutes. And we'll have about 15 minutes to take question and answers from the members of the panel or the audience. So Malo, please put your hands together for Malo as she comes and shares her slides with us. Thank you very much. Malo, over to you.
Thank you, Folake. Thank you. I don't know if someone, is Bola Tito going to do my slides? If not, I have Wale. I think Wale is on the line and he can help me with the slides. Wale Hammond. If we can make him a co-host, I think he can project the slides. Well, while we're waiting for the slides to come up, so I think I was just joking with a friend who was reaching me on WhatsApp and who's on this forum, that I think I'm going to have to rewrite my bio because I'm certainly not as accomplished as it sounds. When Folake was reading it, we were actually just having a chuckle about it. But today I'm going to be talking about innovation and technology in the power sector and what the changes we're seeing have been globally, regionally, Nigeria, and then in Clean Tech Hub, which is what I run. We started the hub in 2016. I used to work for the Nigerian government up until early 2016. And we started the hub to address some of the gaps that we saw in the market at the time. some of those gaps included new innovations and new ideas where we were not able to have them onboarded when I was in government because the barriers to entry for new startups were very high. So it was from that frustration that I just said to myself and a few friends that there has to be another way to get younger people into the sector who are running companies, who are running initiatives, and who are running ideas. So what does Clean Tech Hub do? We're a hybrid hub. A lot of people know us for advocacy and research work, but we also run an incubator and an accelerator. Wale, are the slides coming up, or because I know we sent them in earlier, so I just want to know if
Sorry, 1 second, we're working on that. Wale has seemed to have hopped off the call.
Okay.
You
Okay, I can keep speaking. I can keep speaking until the slides come, and that's fine. So what do we do? We're an incubator and an accelerator as well. We run an incubation program. And the whole idea is to create a pipeline for clean and green ideas and technologies, not just in Nigeria, across sub-Saharan Africa, and ensure their validation for commercial stage development. We currently work in about 11 African countries. A lot of those, the kind of work we do in other countries are around incubation and acceleration, but also market research and market data. So how do we foster at Clean Tech Hub the innovation and opportunities that we see in the power sector? We're focused on clean, renewable energy. And it's very interesting that, you know, we're talking to a whole broader range of stakeholders in the sector, because what we've seen happen in the past 5-6 years is an understanding that the grid is not going to get to everybody anytime soon. And so there is now a deliberate embracing of renewable energy, even by the on-grid sector, in terms of reaching the unelectrified. And to be able to do that, one of the ways that we're seeing that that's happening is through innovation and ideation for solutions. And I'll talk about that, you know, once the slides come up. The other thing that we're also looking at is how we, outside the innovations that we're seeing, is how do we include gender and young people in the conversation around energy access and meeting our electrification targets. Yeah, the slides are up. So I'm on slide 4, if we want to go there. And I think that's important in terms of, you know, because we've seen that we cannot leave a proportionate amount of the population out of energy planning and expect to succeed. There's no country where that has happened successfully. So that's another vehicle. Women and then youth are people that we use as vehicles to begin to mainstream electrification in rural communities. And I'll tell you how we did that before we go. During the pandemic really changed a lot of things. We, like I said earlier on, we service a lot of renewable energy ecosystem and a lot of the renewable energy ecosystem. When the stay-at-home order came down from the federal government in March 2020, it caught a lot of people unawares. Our renewable energy ecosystem also were caught unawares because some of them serve a lot of the mini grids and microgrids that are being built, or even the pico-solar systems that are being distributed, are in very remote communities. So these businesses were not able to go reach their customers. So what happened was, again, the government was putting together a lot of, you know, palliatives. There were renewable energy entrepreneurs who were being asked to electrify isolation centers. Again, without the ability to move interstate, that created a burden. So quite a few of them came to us, and we huddled together to say, what can we do? We've gotten money from the state government, or we've gotten money from the Rural Electrification Agency, or we've gotten money from the federal government through the CBN to travel to so and so state to go and electrify an isolation center, or even a vaccine depot. and we are not able to do that. What we did was to draw from our innovation, where I think 2 years earlier, prior to COVID, we had started something called the Volunteers Network. And that network is about 4,000 people now, people who had reached out to us using social media, either wanting to do work in our sector, looking for opportunities, looking for scholarships to go to school and study things in our sector. There was no way we could satisfy everybody. So we just opened up a WhatsApp group, which has since ported to a Telegram group, where we're sharing all of the information and the data and things we felt would be useful to them. That volunteers network then became very pivotal during the lockdown, because that was the way we were now able to reach or provide human capital to a lot of the renewable energy companies, the mini grid companies that reached out to us for help. We reached out to the volunteers network to ask, well, are you in Enugu, are you in Port Harcourt, are you in Osun State or Ogun State? Because we have some work to do there. Please indicate, are you an engineer? How much do you know? So we had to do a bit of filtering, but because we had that technology, we had this Telegram group that has been running and it's very active. And Kachi, who runs that group, is actually on the call tonight. We were able to get people who we could train online, right? And then actually have them with the help of other partner organizations in those states go and build renewable energy isolation centers to go and put power through solar for those isolation centers in those states. So that was one quick way through which we were able to have people working, have the mini grids servicing the communities that they needed to serve, servicing most critically our healthcare system, which was already in a crisis mode at the time. And it really worked, because since then that's become a pipeline for people who come to ask us, please, you have people who are in, as far-flung places as you can think in Nigeria. We're always able to find people who can go there or who are from those communities, speak the languages, and are able to provide those services for a fee, of course, because we just make sure that those volunteers are paid and are compensated adequately. Please, let's go on to the next slide very quickly, because I want to finish the slides as much as possible. So this is a popular slide I think everybody has seen. It tells the story about Africa's energy dilemma, where you see about 600 million people being unelectrified. And the fact that people are using unclean energy, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, and about 600,000 of them are dying as a result of that. In Nigeria, we have about 90 million people currently living without energy access. I know that the discos are doing a lot to reach the unelectrified, but there's still that huge gap. Next slide, please. So here is where we've seen how we've come to where we are now. We have had several industrial revolutions. The first was through the steam engine, where you found that, there had to be all sorts of modes of logistics and transportation that came up during the first industrial revolution. And that's how we got the steam engine. And then decided, to use coal as a method to power not just the trains, but also to give electricity. Then we went to the third industrial revolution, which is oil and gas. And now everything that we're hearing for the fourth industrial revolution, especially as we're talking about energy transition and just transition, is around clean and renewable energy, because of the issues around the climate emergency. Next slide, please. And this is the quote that you see from Faith Birol about clean energy now accounting for more than half of all new energy supply, is actually supported by data from the World Bank and the African Development Bank. So what has the Africa's energy revolution looked like? It's been, our current power framework is very much urban focused, it's very centralized. We still struggle with, transmission and distribution issues. Very slow to scale. We still have, problematic financing models, and there's a very top to bottom approach in the way that we're looking at our African energy transition. And so that's why you are seeing a remainder of large energy deficit in terms of how we're meeting our energy targets across sub-Saharan Africa. I'll skip through the next slide. Next slide. that just shows you what are, on-grid conventional power system. This is not peculiar to Nigeria, and most sub-Saharan African countries, it's the same. Nigeria's energy situation, I think everybody already knows this data. 20 million households unelectrified, 190 million people, total population is our total population. Some say 200 million. And our average power generation just sort of hovers around 3,000 megawatts, more or less. Keep going, Folake, or I'm not sure who's controlling the slides. Keep going, please. So, no, we're done with this slide. Keep going. Okay, so here, this slide is going to sort of help us look at, I think we've gone back a bit. Where we want to go to is this slide, where we have the power transition. No, we're done with this slide. Wale.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm so sorry. We're about to make Wale the co-host.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So this is where we want to be when we talk about Nigeria's energy situation, right? We want to go from a very centralized model to a very decentralized model. And what does that mean in terms of energy generation and distribution? It means having more mini grids and microgrids scattered across rural and last mile communities. And the DISCOs, which we're seeing increasingly now, working with a number of providers to reach a lot of those communities. We want to go from a rigid grid network to a flexible smart grid network. Again, we're seeing a bit of that in the Nigerian situation. We want to see faster deployment and scalability. And if we talk about faster deployment and scalability, the World Bank estimates that the amount of time it takes to build a gas-fired plant is about 9 years. The time it takes to build a mini grid or microgrid that can supply light to about 200 to 350 homes is about 8 to 9 months in a community. So you're seeing in terms of scalability that the potential for us to go decentralized actually lies with renewable energy. And then we're also seeing that there has to be innovative financing models because, the cost, if you look at the cost that it's taken us to build some of the NIPP plants, versus the cost that it's taking to actually build mini grids and microgrids in rural off-grid community, it's almost like 1/10 of the cost that it's taking to build. Granted that the big plants actually provide more power, but for the fact that we have not been able to sort out the transmission network, and we're still at that stage, we think that having scalability is going to lie with having a decentralized model is going to lie with empowering mini grids and microgrids and having interconnected mini grids, which is where mini grid developers are partnering with the DISCOs to reach a lot of the unelectrified. So that will be the bottom to top approach that we're hoping to see in the sector. And that's some of the innovation that we want to see. Keep going, please. So this next slide is just a picture that shows you some of the projects that we've seen currently in Nigeria. Many of you might know about the federal government's energizing markets and energizing education programs, and also its Nigerian electrification program. And with the energizing education program, I think there are about 12 universities or 13, I can't remember how many now, that are being taken off grid, right? This is one, the Alex Ekwueme University. Has about 2.8 megawatts of solar. There's one in Kano, I think there's one in Delta, there's one in Ebonyi. So these are the scale of the programs that we're doing. And it's just also, apart from the fact that we want to take those universities off grid, it's also a way to begin to build internal human capital because the maintenance of those microgrids and mini grids are also through the students and the faculty of engineering, who are all participants in doing that project. We also have a lot of small hydro projects. The Wuse Market Interconnected Mini Grid by GVE in Nigeria is in partnership with Abuja Disco. We also know that there is a similar one that's in Bini, going on in Bini with another mini grid company. And we also are aware of what's going on in Kano and Kaduna with Connexa, with the Kaduna Disco and Kano Disco as well. So we can see that there's a lot of innovation and collaboration that's going on to actually begin to reach a lot of customers and not just dependent on one centralized model of reaching customers, whether it's through getting them electricity or through the billing and collections. Next slide, please, Wally. Next slide. Sorry about the delays, but we will be done in another 7 minutes. So what are the innovative solutions we're seeing in the power sector? As this slide will show, we are seeing a lot of metering companies, remote monitoring metering companies that are coming into the sector and working with a number of discos to be able to provide metering to homes. We're seeing a lot of data collection or data analytics companies, both foreign and domestic, coming into the Nigerian market and helping to provide a sort of data that can help power companies be able to make better informed decisions. We're seeing more innovative payment solutions, not just for the clean energy sector, but also for the on-grid sector as well. We're also seeing a lot of modeling and system designs, and you will see this with the HOMA system, who has continued to train a lot of engineers currently in the Nigerian market on how to use their systems. So we are seeing a lot of innovative solutions in the power sector. Our point of reference is the renewable energy sector, because that's where we sort of play at. And we see a lot of them coming to talk to us about how this can actually serve the sector more, even in things like productive use or productive use load. Next slide, Wally. So these are some of the companies that are in Nigeria. You might know them. They might be familiar with to you. Nithio is a company that is a finance company that provides energy data analytics. They've been here since I think about 2018. Everybody must know Energy is an indigenous innovative company focused on power as a service. And then Odyssey is the platform for the mini-grid developers, where they provide all the data planning and toolkits that can help them scale their mini-grid developments across the country. So these are a few of the companies that we know that are helping with, technology and innovation in the power sector. Similar here, we're seeing a lot of companies also around planning, control, and system protection. Power World Corporation, I already spoke about HOMA. Siemens is a big player in the space. And Peacecard is also another big player in the space. So these are some of the companies we're seeing coming into Nigeria. And like I said, they're not serving just the clean or renewable energy sector, also serving the on-grid sector. So what does this tell us? We're seeing a lot of Internet of Things, a lot of constellation of technology beginning to drive how people are accessing power in Nigeria. And it doesn't matter. One of the things that we also say to people is that because a lot of the conventional wisdom is that, a lot of the rural communities that remain largely unserved, people are not educated and cannot understand this power system. We found that to be very untrue. They're actually the most quicker to serve, because they've never had power. You're introducing these new systems to them. This is all that they have known. So transitioning them to using a lot of the technologies that are serving their communities is easier than people who have been in urban areas and have been used to traditional methods of, receiving power and having people come and read their power meters. So those things are, it's very hard to sort of change behaviors. And we're seeing that people in rural and peri-urban communities are adopting these technologies and the changes when it comes to power better than the people that are in the urban area. Next slide, please. Next slide. And we're happy to share the slide with people after the presentation. Next slide. this is just giving you an idea. All of these are companies that we've worked with at some level. Well, if you can go back one slide, let me just talk about the GE and the Excel Energy. So GE is, everybody knows what GE is. They have a software called Predix that uses the power of AI to make predictions on machine health, right? Basically servicing the healthcare sector. And since the pandemic, we've seen how critical this sector is, whether it's for the isolation centers, whether it's for vaccine storage, or whether it's for contact tracing, which we're still not doing very well. But in some other countries where this is being deployed, we have seen the utility value. And because General Electric is building the software using its power system technologies, they're able to reach a lot of the healthcare providers who are then able to reach the most impacted communities when it comes to COVID, or even when it comes to other sorts of diseases, whether it's Ebola or any other pandemic that might happen in future. So we can see that innovation that just sort of started by power, but has been cascaded towards healthcare and even now community development. Similar to Excel Energy, they're using the AI-based data mining methods to generate detailed weather reports with high accuracy, and then scaling this up to a lot of the aviation sector, people in the agricultural sector who want to understand weather patterns, especially the changing weather patterns because of climate change and what that means for their productive agricultural activities. Next slide, please. Okra Solar came into the country 2020, one of our partners. We're supporting them. And they're looking to work with a number of DISCOs because their technology is going to enable energy companies to sustainably deploy and scale in remote areas. They're very IoT focused with machine learning and hard power electronics. So what they do, their platform is one that harvests and enables mini grid operators to perform maintenance tasks remotely without people having to travel. So that's the technology that they're trying to deploy currently in Nigeria and working with a lot of the mini grid developers and a few DISCOs. Next slide, please. So here you see the innovative solutions. I think we've talked about this, how we're sort of switching. There's a lot of talk around electric vehicles. You'll be shocked that Nigeria is now assembling electric vehicles across the country. So Nigeria is actually assembling electric vehicles across the country, not just the one that was launched in Abuja about a month ago. There's a lady called Bahijatu Abubakar in Kaduna who works with a lot of rural women, and she has been able to get them educated enough in local languages to become solar installers, but they are now actually working on assembling their own solar vehicles. And none of these women have formal education, right? So the name of her organization is RUES, and they actually just launched their first electric vehicle prototype in Kaduna. There's also one, I think, that we've heard of in Plateau, Jos, that's just actually been assembled recently. So the EV is here. The electric mobility is here. There's electric keke, we've heard in Maiduguri and Boronu, where people actually go and charge. They have charging points to charge their electric vehicles. And again, the distribution companies are an integral part of this conversation in terms of how electric or e-mobility is going to be deployed across the country. So in terms of creating those scalable charging points when this e-mobility rickshaws or keke or vehicles are then built. Storage is also another big thing that we're seeing as a big player in the sector. I see that there are two at Unilag. Dr. Patricia says that. And then of course, we know that the utility grid, like we've said, is going to be integral to make sure that all of these other angles, whether it's from the renewables, the storage, the EVs, are going to be sustainable. Keep going, Wale. So part of the global trends that we see is some of the announcements. You know, people like Google, Microsoft, not just Tesla, are getting into the energy access sector. Yahoo, for instance, is powered mainly by wind energy at their HQ. Amazon installed the largest rooftop solar array in Europe. Apple has 4.7 billion green bond that it's spending to create 1.2 gigawatts of clean power. And then Google has said that it has 100% renewable targets coming up in 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Keep going, please. Next slide, Wally. Yes. So some of what's driving this changes, this energy transitions that we're seeing, and this innovations that we're seeing, and this decentralized models that we're seeing, is actually around climate change. We can't ignore that conversation. Whether you're a Genco, you're a Disco, you're a Transco, that conversation is happening, and it's happening bigly. And so what we're seeing is that the way that it's been framed, especially from the electricity and energy access conundrum, is around decentralization, storage, and the fact that it's more efficient and that we can use artificial intelligence to actually reduce our carbon footprints across sub-Saharan Africa. Now, there's the other side of the conversation, which is that Africa has the lowest carbon footprints when it comes to emissions. So we're not actually the biggest polluters. But when we see that the technologies are changing, for instance, when people are now talking about electric vehicles, we can't be left behind, because if that then becomes a thing, as an oil and gas producing country, we have to think about what this means for us in the longer term. And this is where the power sector has an important leadership role to play. People like Ikeja Disco have an important leadership role to play in shaping that conversation about what our just transition or our energy transition would look like. Keep going, please. So the local trends that we're seeing is that in Nigeria, we now have an economic sustainability plan that has bold renewable energy targets. There are huge grants from multilateral institutions, including the AFDB and the World Bank. And we're also seeing increased funding from impact investors through loans and equity investments. There's Olon, there's the BOI Solar Fund. And then there's also partnership with universities that are happening with foreign universities and local universities across the value chain, from University of Ife to Covenant University to Ekiti State University, UNILAG, and then UNN as well. What does this mean? It means that there's an opportunity for employment to look at how our youths and our women are positioning themselves for this energy transition, and the innovation that is driving it is going to happen. And that's why I like what WIEN is doing, because even though it's focused on women, we know that there's no way women will leave their children or the young people behind. So there's a lot of research and development that's going on. We see a lot of project management that's going on, and there's going to be increased sales and marketing for some of the new products and services that are going to emerge from these transitions. There's an upward trajectory of renewable energy projects, and this is bringing in a lot of financing through venture capital into the country. So we're going to have an increased need for people who understand financing in very credible forms to make sure that we're actually positioning our own local competitiveness in ways that that can benefit not just the companies, but also the communities at large. And there's also opportunities for entrepreneurs and startups to come up with innovative models around energy as a service, the pay-as-you-go system, and then the mini-grids. And we've already seen that in some of the partnerships that are happening between the discos and the microgrid and mini-grid companies. So lastly, we're almost done. So what's going on in the tech ecosystem? Sometime in 2018, Cleantech Hub invited a lot of our tech eggheads to Lagos to come and talk about tech meets renewable. How do we make sure that our own local tech ecosystem are becoming players in this sector, so that it's not just going to be hugely driven by foreign companies, which is what we started to see, whether it's from the data analytics, the pay-as-you-go systems, the artificial intelligence systems, and the companies that were coming in to drive those things. And it was a very successful meeting. It was from that meeting that Olon, Heinrich Böll Foundation, Sterling Bank, and I can't remember who else, then funded us to start running our incubation and our acceleration program, looking at young people who are actually coming up with ideas that they can seed fund and helping them create partnerships with more established power companies to provide the services to them. So the tech ecosystem, even though we see that they're very focused on e-payments and the finance aspect of tech, we feel like they still have a strong part to play in the enabling technologies that are emerging in the power sector, especially when it comes to smart metering, blockchain, and IoT, big data. The entire renewable energy value chain is providing opportunities for growth and employment. And this is the business case that we're making to the presidency and the vice president's office to make sure that, all of the connectedness we need in the power sector when we are talking about tech, innovation, especially in the post-COVID world, when we know that things are never going to go back to being the same, that we're also positioning our local people, our local technology experts, our local power experts, our local power companies to make sure that they're taking advantage of all of these trends that we're seeing. Keep going, please. So in conclusion, the world has changed. There's a post-COVID world. One of the things that at Clean Tech Hub, we're hybrid. Most of the time, we're a team of about 40 persons at the hub. And because sorry, I'm not sure where I stopped, but I was just saying that the world has changed. Everybody realizes that, and companies are adapting and making new ways of working together and making sure that they meet their targets. I talked about our volunteers network, which is the way that we get to service communities that we can't reach. Prior to COVID, we were traveling every week to some states to go into local communities. As a result of the kidnapping and banditry, and of course, COVID protocols, we're not able to do that, but we're able to use our volunteers network to do it. And we use a lot of monitoring systems to actually monitor what's going on with our project in remote communities. And as a company, 40 people, we can't be in the office at the same time. So to observe COVID protocols, we're relying on a lot of, technology, Zoom, GoToMeetings, Microsoft Teams to actually carry our work and make sure that we're meeting all our targets for all our investors and our donors as well. So I was asked to speak on this subject. I'm very happy to answer questions as they come along, but I just wanted to show what the global trend, the regional trend, and what's happening across Nigeria so that people know the times have changed and that there's a lot of activities going on to position us, not just for a post-COVID world, for a post-technology-driven world. And I'll stop there and see if there are questions for me. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, Ifeoma. That was amazing. That was really insightful. I learned a lot there and a lot of opportunities for a lot of people that are on this call. So we'll just take questions now. I don't know if anyone has questions. Please signify by raising your hand so we can take questions. Let me check the chat box. I can't seem to see any question. I thought there would be a lot of questions considering the opportunities that you highlighted in your presentation. Okay, I can see from his hands. All right, President, go ahead.
Thank you so much. No, that was a very good and encouraging, upbeat presentation. So when Ifeoma started to speak, I kept thinking to myself, when is the battle line going to be drawn? Because a lot of people feel and continue to say that there's this rivalry between power and renewable. So I was expecting to see that, the daggers coming out. But from everything that you've presented, it seems like there's a lot of synergy and there's a lot of handshake that needs to happen or that is already happening, and that there's so many players already quite active and doing things. But one particular area that I wanted you to speak more about, obviously, because it's dear to me, is the work that you're doing around gender I noticed in one of the slides you said there's a lot of involvement of women in the work that you're doing. So I wanted to find out if you could, share more light around some of the opportunities and some of the achievements, and how some of our women today can play more active role in the space, and speak a bit more about the relationship between RE and power. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I'll be very brief on that. We started talking about mainstreaming gender in the power sector when it wasn't sexy to talk about it. And I do recall a lot of our investors and donors sort of rolling their eyes at the time. But I think a lot of them have come around to realize that investing in women, especially when it comes to power, is smart business. Looking at people like Folake, who's an empowered woman running one of the largest
Ifeoma, I think is having problems. Oh,
sorry about that. So at Cleantech Hub, what have we done? We've trained women at several levels. Some of them are community-based women and women at the lower income ladder on how to be distributors of clean energy, especially the Pico Solar Lab. At an event that I was at yesterday, two of the women who are partners of ours with Solar Sisters talked about how their children, one of them has her child studying chemical engineering at the University of Maiduguri. Another one has her child studying chemistry at another university. So from actually empowering these women to sell solar lamps, they've been able to send their daughters to school. And what that means is that their daughters are going to be educated, their grandchildren are going to be educated. And so we're empowering a community. There's a whole community of people who are then getting education and who are then getting economic opportunities as a result. I can tell you, and this is very normal, that when we go to communities and we do the kind of work that we do, for instance, there's a woman who actually came to meet us at a health center that we were helping to electrify in the Northeast. And what she said to us was that she needed an income because her husband was an Okada driver and doesn't really get a lot of work every day. Well, she was given a solar cooler. From that solar cooler, she's been able to get 6 other solar coolers. She's the biggest distributor of Kunu and Zobo in her area. Her husband has sold his motorcycle and invested it in her business. So you've seen the cascading events, the cascading effects of having women being empowered by just giving them power. And so when we do these trainings and Abia State invited us where we trained about 300 women to start solar businesses. From there, they invited their SMED and the equivalent of their SMED and in the state to give microcredit loans. 50 women from that, we've been tracking about 50 women or 53 women have now started off small businesses and are contributing to their family, So these are the kind of data that we look at and we say, well, it's smart to actually empower women at this level because it helps not just their families, it helps the community. But it's also one of the other things that we do is also we work with organizations like Power Africa and NPSP for women in leadership positions so that women know that when they're empowered, they should empower other women and help them rise through the ranks to empowered situations. So I'll stop there because there's quite a number of things we do and some of them are on our website in terms of giving space, ceding space to women and ensuring that they get opportunities to actually showcase their talents and the opportunities to actually grow themselves as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ife. I can see Tayo Omotosho's hands up. So Tayo Omotosho, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Tayo Omotosho. Okay. Tayo Omotosho. Okay, Damilola Agbola. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you, Ifeoma, for the very educating presentation. I greet all my bosses on this call. My question is going to be very brief. I would like you to mention a case study of where there have been synergy between the renewable energy sector and the DISCO, like a case of MOU, and where it has worked, so that we can have a look at it on our own. Thank you, Ma.
Sure. One good example is the interconnected mini grid that's been built at Wuse Market by GVE. It's the first private sector-led interconnected mini grid. And the parties are Abuja Disco, GVE, and the Rural Electrification Agency, and then Clean Technology Hub. So it's not just an MOU. There's a tripartite contract in place that was approved by the regulator. So NEC had looked at all of the contracting or had overseen the contracting procedure, and that project is still on course. It's not been fully deployed, it's still in progress. There's been delays because of COVID and then issues around supply chain. But that's one success story. We're about 60 to 65% completion rate for that project. And hopefully by Q3 of next year, fully onboarded at the Wuse Market. Wuse Market being the largest commercial market in Abuja, if you know Abuja very well. Okay, so there's also the one in the Ikeja Market, but that one was led by the Rural Electrification Agency. It wasn't private sector led. It was the REA actually doing that with, I think, Lagos State government. But in terms of private sector, which is what he was asking about, a mini grid company and a DISCO, the GVE one is the very first test case that we're seeing that will then form a business case study that we can say is successful. And we will write a case study about that when we're done, so that people can actually study it and use that model as they build along.
So just to ask, so the embedded power in the DISCOs, are any of them using renewable at all?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
You know how the DISCOs are allowed to have 25% embedded power within their—
Somebody, was that you, Folake? What was your question? I'm not quite sure I understood your question.
This is for me. I'm asking a question, a follow-on question to the other speaker, what you were saying about there are not that many, or this is a test case one, the collaboration between RE and power distribution companies. And I'm wondering if there's been any other case, the embedded power where they're allowed to have 25% of their power within their franchise area. Are there any one of them that are using these mini grids or private grids that are gotten from renewable energy sources?
So you're breaking up, but I think I understand your question. So you're asking whether any of in the DISCO franchise areas, whether there's anywhere where there's embedded power.
Yes, whether they're using RE as embedded power, in that they are embedded power space, in that embedded power space.
Yes, a few. There's a number of people who are building microgrids for housing estates. That's now a thing. And that's for, so rather than use gas, which is what people normally use in estates that are built across the country, some people are actually doing a hybrid, or I don't know, tripartite grid between gas, renewables, and the power from the DISCOs. I can't recall. There's Yusuf Suleiman of Blue Camel, and then A. Stevens are two companies that I know that actually use that model, where they're sort of integrating renewable energy as part of their construction for housing estates. And then there's one other company run by a female. That's the one I'm trying to find, because she has a very interesting model. And I will find it before this call is up, and I'll put it in the chat box. But we do see that happening. Whether that's going to take off at scale, I don't know. But I can find out more information and share with the group, even after this session.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm trying to see if there's any question in the chat box for you. And I think that you've done such a great job. Can't see any other questions. So before we move on to the next speaker, I would like to say thank you so much for a very insightful and educative session. That was really great. And I guess I'm excited about the opportunities that you highlighted, during your presentation. And it's so interesting to see the opportunities for finance people. Great. I mean, I'm the opportunities for entrepreneurs and startups. I mean, that kind of makes sense. It aligns, but for the finance people. So thank you for sharing that. And
thank you
I
for
think
having
that
me. We want
can,
to work with Ikeja Disco, so we need to talk at some point. Okay.
And also, sorry, there's somebody that says I'm a female power safety engineer, very open for collaborations at all levels. So
please,
then
she can let her send us an email. We'll add her to our gender group. Yeah.
There's a lot of sisterhood that needs to go on here. We have to work with each other.
It's happening. It's going to happen. When Ugochukwu is talking about, when he's doing his presentation, he will also just kind of share some of the things we're trying to do, at least from a Ikeja Electric perspective, in terms of collaborating with people like Ify. So Ify, we're on. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker now. So it's my pleasure to call on Martin. Martin, are you ready for us?
Sure, I'm ready.
So Martin, the floor is yours. You can share your screen yourself so that you're in control.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, great. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. And thank you so much, WIEN, for inviting me to this meeting. I think it's a privilege, and I'm going to do my best to talk about the topic you have given to me to present on. We're talking about the powering for the future, leveraging on digital transformation in the power sector. So basically, I'm going to try and very simple as much as possible to break it down so that everyone can take advantage of the opportunities provided by WIEN. Now, what is digital transformation? So we're going to start from the root, at least for us to understand the basics, then before we go how that impact the power sector. Basically, is simply the process where we create new or transform existing business processes, culture, and customer experiences using available technologies to improve business operation. And the reason we do that is to satisfy the shareholders and also meet our customers' expectation. That is basically a very simple way of defining what digital transformation is. For us to understand it better, so I put in a couple of pillars to understand that digital transformation is not just about technology alone. It's not just technology. It involves more than just the technology aspect. So we need to look beyond just technology and also focus on some other aspects that will enable change. And these are experiences. So you need to have experiences within the area of specialty or within the area that you are trying to transform. So using those knowledge, those experience are what you can use to transform in that space. Then also we need to look at the people. Technology and people, they don't work in isolation. So you have to work together. And in addition to that, we need to look at how you manage change in that organization. How do we manage change? There needs to be a change champion. And the first speaker talked about innovations. There need to be availability to embrace innovation and put in plans to implement those innovation. And as we all know, without leadership, you cannot transform anything. So there needs to be some leadership support for transformation to take place. Obviously, it also includes culture of the business that embraces innovation. So that gives us at least the 6 pillars of digital transformation that can aid any business that want to embark on transforming their business. So like I was saying earlier, it requires strong leadership support and participation to be successful. You will require cross-departmental collaboration, and you need to also engage your customers. You can't just do it within your organization alone. It needs to be done in conjunction with your customers, ensuring that you understand your customers' concerns, requirements, so that the solutions that you want to provide to transform your business is in alignment with your customers' expectation. So I'm going to drill down to how does this impact the power sector. A lot of was said in the first presentation about the innovations in the power sector already. So I'm going to just speak about just the impact. As we all know, the power sector landscape is changing. I will understand that there are multiple challenges that are facing the utility industry, and the old method of doing business is no longer sustainable. It is more decentralized now. We are even decarbonizing our space. So those old ways and the old beliefs are changing. So we have to do, in addition to that, the high cost of operating the business, and especially in the power area where there's a lot of regulation. So there's a lot of challenges that is meeting this particular sector today. So there is no way they cannot embrace change. So it's imperative that the power sector begins to look at how to transform their business to meet the modern day expectation of our customers. So the strategies that must be embraced to strategically change the power sector include using digital technologies and processes to confront these threats. So according to PwC 2009 Digital Operations Study, only about 2% of utilities or power companies in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa could be ranked as digital champions. So this is still at the infancy stage. This is just a 2009 study that stated that we have not really embraced technology, especially in Africa. So there's still a lot of space for improvement here. So digital transformation in the power sector. So I'm going to speak about specific areas that we can see immediate or significant improvement if we intend to start transforming our business. And these areas include how we engage our customers, how to improve our employee efficiency, and how to manage our power assets. So I'm going to talk about those 3 areas and the technologies that we can deploy for this particular area. For customer engagement, we can understand that there are a number of customers today, especially in Nigeria, that I'm conversant. So I'm going to even talk more in the Nigerian space. I have experience working in both generation, transmission, and distribution. So, and I've seen it outside the country, and I'm also seeing it here that the expectation of our customer is changing, and it's in alignment with the time. So you are going to see a lot of people demanding services through your phones, through laptop, through tablet. And power companies need to leverage on the technology to improve this customer expectation, and they need to adopt some of this I have highlighted here. So I'm going to take one at a time. For example, Provision of smart meters. Everybody know about smart meters to measure consumption, but we have not started seeing things like features to vend remotely. Right now, if you vend or you buy a token, you still need to go punch some numbers. You still have to go to the meter and interact with that, but that is old school. There are meters, smart meters today that you don't need to go to the meter. You can go online or through your USSD or through SMS, right? You go and you pay for your electricity, and automatically using the AMI events into your, just like you do with your DSTV. You don't need to go punch anything. So they are more advanced in the telecom space than in the power sector. So that is one area where we can see immediate value that I believe our customers can really, really appreciate. That they can, at any moment within 24/7, be able to buy electricity and it will go straight to their meters. Another technology that we can deploy is ability or access to view real-time consumption history. While working for Energy Future Holdings, one of the biggest utility company in Texas, we had this. We have, our customers are able to view real-time how much energy they are consuming on their mobile app. So they can at a moment know how much energy am I using as of this moment. And they can tweak or reduce some of their appliances to reduce consumption and save some money. In addition to that, they can view their payment information. All of these are available at the tip of their mobile phones. Another application is providing usage and outage alerts to customers. While in some discos in Nigeria, that is already been done, but it's not 100% across the 11 discos. So most of our customers are not still aware when there's going to be outage. They just suddenly see light goes off and they see light comes on. They say up NEPA. But so there's a lot of improvement here. We can actually plan our outages, send notifications to our customers prior to these outages via SMS, emails, and even push notifications on the mobile apps that are provided to our customers. Imagine in Nigeria, our customers know when there's going to be outage and they are not surprised. Imagine if out of the 11, just say 4 is doing that. That would be a novelty in Nigeria. In addition to that, electronic bills should be provided. Today, we still have a lot of the field workers go physically to go hand over bills to our customers. But just imagine deploying technologies where electronic bills, I know Ikeja is doing that already. IBDC is also doing that. They send out the electronic bill. You can get it on your via email. You can get it via SMS. And you can give your customers multiple opportunities to make payment. I think that is one aspect that we are doing very well in Nigeria. We have provided multiple payment channels, and a lot of people have embraced that. You can see people paying through USSD now. People go to the ATM, they can make payment, they can go to the bank, they can go online, and they can go to the POS vendor. So I think Nigeria in that space, we are doing very well. We also provide technology where our customers can go online without, especially in this period of COVID, we try to limit physical contact with customers. So providing something so simple as a portal where a customer can go stop a service or request a service, or even make complaints. That will be very useful to the customer. Then our virtual assistants to help users manage their energy use and analyze customer their consumption. I kind of mentioned that earlier. In addition to that, also analyze their usage pattern and make suggestion of alternate services that could be provided to them. So those are added value services that the discos and the are not providing to the customers today. We talked about solar panels earlier. In the last speaker talked about that, and even in some in the markets and in residential homes. In the near future, you're going to see a lot of that, people embracing solar power. But what is going to happen is that there's going to be credits. People are going to be providing or having more energy that they need in their homes, and they're going to be pushing it back to the grid. There are technologies today that we can use to credit those customers, because it's reversed now. They are not pushing, the excess energy is being pushed back to the grid. So what are we doing to provide technology to give those customers credit or payment for the energy that they are going to be offloading back to the grid? The technology are readily available. Call center to provide accessibility to our customers so they can make phone calls, and a customer relationship management system. So in a nutshell, the list is not exhausted, but just to give you an idea of what we can do to engage our customers, even more technologies that we can use to do that. The next one I'm going to talk about is employees. So within the power sector, most of our tasks, our internal operations are still manual. We are still using, most of them are paper-based and repetitive tasks. So to improve those manual operations and make it more efficient, that is part of transformation. And some of these technologies that can we deploy, I'm going to talk about here. Some of them are well known, some of them have not been deployed yet. So provision of an enterprise resource planning tools like SAP, like Sage, like the Oracle, there's so many, SPSS and others, can really help in the areas of human resource management, in finance, procurement, inventory, and employee self-service. These, if done properly, can help the business to operate more efficiently. In addition to that, most of our documents, as stated earlier, are paper-based. Provision of electronic document management system will ensure that these paper-based processes that we have are reduced. I know we can't probably eliminate that entirely, but it is to be reduced significantly. And we can save those documents, store it properly, put some permissions in there, and secure them, and only give access to the right people that should have access to those electronic documents. So it's very essential that the DISCO enable to improve their processes, embrace the EDMS systems. Learning management systems are to also help, especially in this time of COVID, where most people don't come to training physically. A learning management tool will really help any business to provide training to keep the employees update their skills. And they can do that internally or outsource it to an expert who can help them provide the systems. And the customer billing system, as we all know, is the bane of any distribution company. So having a very good billing system is essential. So, but you can find out that some are still very manual based. Some people still use the old Excel or some very old antiquated systems to bill their customers. So to transform the organization, you need to enhance your billing system and your vending system or payment system. An employee recruitment portal will also be useful as well. Making that more digital, ensuring that available resources can apply for positions within your organization anywhere they are in the world. You are able to process that from the beginning of the process to retaining of that particular employee will be very useful to any organization. Also, especially in the power industry, we have a lot of vehicles that we use for our maintenance work, and ability to manage all of that will improve efficiency, reduce cost, and you'll be able to track the maintenance and the vehicle history for those vehicles that we use on the field. So a fleet management system will be very beneficial to an organization. I talked a little bit about advanced metering infrastructure. This is basically how systems that have been put in place to read meters remotely. It involves the telecommunications and the meters on the field, and also the head-end systems connected using the GPS network or GPRS to connect to those meters remotely so that we can start seeing value. So instead of our customers, our employees going physically to the customers' homes where they risk their lives, where they, it's not very efficient to read those meters, they can actually read it remotely. In addition to that, you can see bypass, you can observe some anomalies. And in some instances, if it's a very smart meter, you can also observe some of the head of that meter so that you know when to do some maintenance work on the meters. Advanced metering infrastructure is key to any disco or power that is interested in modernizing their operations. Health and safety management systems. I will just leave it at that, but it's as important as every other solutions and applications that I've talked about. We need to be able to manage and track our safety practices, ensure that our employees are adhering to all safety standards, and we are able to monitor that and track and report to regulations. So having a system like that that's transparent, that employees can see to report incident and manage the workflow of activities from the incident creation to the reporting and to the monitoring is essential to a DISCO. Then another application is provision of digital communication and collaborative tools such as emails, SMS, chats, intranet, and like tools that we are using right now, like Zoom, SharePoint, to improve collaboration between employees. That would really improve efficiency in a business. And that is one way you can transform your business. So field operation are systems that automate manual repetitive tasks, maintenance, and monitoring. There are tools right now you can deploy on Android device or iOS that you can give to your field officers to take to the field, right, for them to work. For example, the commercial line workers. Today, some of them still use the old walkie-talkie, the radios, so there is maybe there's a line that had got disrupted or a pole that fell down, and they are not able to track that. Imagine if you have a mobile phone that knows the exact location of that pole and sends the GPS coordinate of the line to the commercial line worker in the field so that they can go to that location. Using the advanced metering infrastructure has already sent alert that the line is down, and they can go right to that spot to start to work on the pole that fell down. This can be done by using systems like field operation systems. Then the last one here that I have is, using drones to perform tasks, right? Looking at our lines, our vegetation management. Most of the time, the teams have to drive to go to some of these locations to see which area they need to go cut down, the trees that are, inhibiting our communication flow, and even the power lines. This can be done using drone. They can even monitor all the lines and perform security surveillance. So these are some of the improvements that can be brought in if we deploy technologies as simple as a drone technology to monitor our power lines and monitor some of our key equipment, our transformers, especially in areas where it's susceptible to vandalism. We can easily be deployed. These are simple technologies that's already being used outside of this country that can easily be deployed. The next one that I want to talk about is power assets. How do we manage our assets? So we have the supervisory control and data acquisition. We're basically systems that connects to all our remote equipment, like transformers, like our injection substations. You can remotely monitor all of this and understand how they're working, how the health of that equipment, and able to take reading, instantaneous or real-time readings from this equipment. In putting that, having knowledge of what is going on at any given time can really improve how you manage your asset. In fact, if you know when to go maintain your asset, you know that maybe the oil level is going down for a transformer, or you know when the last time that you perform some maintenance event and it sends you alert, you can go do some maintenance even before the event occurs. So a SCADA, a system, will be added value to any distribution company. The GIS system I mentioned earlier is basically putting these devices and you can locate where all your equipment are. And you are able to provide that information to the field workers to go work. So a GIS system, we did that recently. So we basically map about 5 states. So I can take an account number. Once I put it in, it gives me take me zoom all the way down to that customer premises, and I'm able to see exactly the premises, the wiring, and what was done in that premises, and we are able to visualize that, even from the office without having to leave your office. So these are improvements that was not there just a couple of years ago. The emission management system, especially for the generation plants, imagine able to manage your emissions, your carbon footprint that you are putting up there, you are able to manage that. And you can even take some credits if properly done well. I know we don't really do that here in Nigeria, but it's something that we should probably be looking at in the future, especially for the coal power plant. The gas is not really emitting that much, but even then we need to start looking at the future and our environment. So having an emission management system will add a lot of value. And I believe NEC probably should be looking at that. Outage management system. This is basically a system to manage your outage, where you already foreseen, you already have a planned outage. So you have maybe 16,000 transformers within your franchise. You know when they were deployed, you know when they were serviced, and you can monitor them because you have smart meters attached to it. You are able to plan outages, and you are able to alert your customers when those outages is going to take place, and also manage the work streams that happen within that process. So this is a valuable a piece of application that every DISCO should have. Also monitoring your DTs, distributed transformers and feeders using smart meters is essential to any DISCO. So a simple technology like that, deploying it. In fact, this is mandated now anyway in Nigeria. So everybody have to have this to measure our feeders, because that is where most of the tariff is coming from right now. So this has already been done in Nigeria. So I give kudos to our regulators for ensuring that. A plant historian system is basically to provide every source of information that in a generation plant, right? So you have your maybe HP turbine, you have your several equipment that is housed in your generation plant. These are sensors that are placed in each of these critical devices to provide critical information that you can use to manage your equipment. So a plant historian system in a generating facility is of utmost importance. As mentioned earlier, drones, sensors, perimeter defense system to monitor your assets in the field will be really important for any power company that is interested in modernizing or transforming their process. So those are some of the areas that I've talked on that we can immediately add value to our processes and our operations. Now, I'm going to talk about how does that now relate to opportunities for women in the power sector. According to the World Bank Energy Sector Management Assistance Program, there was a research on employment in the energy sector, and they found that 21% of the overall workforce in energy utilities in the African countries, only 21% of women are working in the energy sector. So to me, that was a very small gap. I mean, 21%. The same study also suggests that only 15% of women works in technical positions in African countries. Most women work in office-based corporate functions such as HR, finance, and customer service. Those are the statistics. The National Center for Women and Information Technology, this is a United States report, says that although 57% of workforce is made up of women, that's in the US now, only 26% hold computing job. I don't think there's no study yet in Nigeria to actually give us a number of women that are in IT job. I kind of researched that, I couldn't find that. But if 26% in America, in an advanced country, so I could expect way much less in Africa. So that means there's a lot of opportunities. What that tells me is that there's a lot of opportunities in IT for women, especially in the power sector. So there are a variety of career options for women to pursue in IT and the tech industry, especially now in Africa. This is the right time to come in. Although a bachelor degree in computer science or in engineering is preferred by most employers, but it's absolutely not a requirement. You can find positions, a lot of people that even work, they don't have degrees in IT, but what they have done is to take certification classes, take training, and become proficient in some skills. What those education do for you is to kind of give you the basic, but you have to take it a bit further, understand and the technology and embrace it and become proficient in it. And most of them are done outside of the normal classroom. So there are a lot of positions out there or careers in IT that does not require a degree in information systems or computer science. So the reason I'm saying that, some people say, oh, I studied accounting, I can't do IT. Or I'm already doing Greek, I can't do IT. I know I've hired a lot of people personally that have IT background, but today they are doing very well. And they can start with careers like in a data analyst. They can do a data analyst. Data analysts collect large amount of data and translate it to help business make informed decisions. You know, every business collects data, so there's always data, and they need somebody to help them analyze that data. So this is like an entry level where you know how to manipulate data. You can even go to a 4 weeks class to take Excel and be very conversant with Excel. With that, you are able to manipulate data. So there are a lot of opportunities out there for entry level folks that are interested in IT. Another one is cybersecurity. I can't say much about this. We have very few women in this space, and you can take advantage of this opportunity. In fact, it's highly, highly sought after. I took a class in New York a couple of months ago, and even in that class, I could see only one woman. It was an advanced ethical hacking class, and we just have like one woman. So there's a lot of opportunities. What is cybersecurity? These are analysts that plan and carry out security measures to protect our organization's network. So you are the one that is being in charge. I call them the goalkeeper. You are the goalkeeper. So you basically have enough knowledge to provide tools to prevent somebody from hacking a computer system, or looking at vulnerabilities within a company and providing solutions that can help prevent attack. So that is what they do. So to become an information security analyst, for example, you must have at least a bachelor's degree. And it will be helpful if it's in a computer-related field, but don't let that deter you. If you are somebody that is committed, want to learn, you can actually study. There's so many information available that you can get kickstarted on to have a hands-on experience in this. And even with internship, that will help. It's highly, highly sought after and recommended. Another one is IT support. This is the people that basically fix your computer, repair your computer. They are the first level support, and you can really start from here. You can teach you how to fix a computer within a 6-8 weeks period. You can fairly understand how a computer starts. And there are certifications around that area that can help the women to get started in IT, how you support that. And they even teach you the basic networking support. So you be the first level support before the network engineers or the system administrators can come in and fix. So I would highly recommend women to start. This is where most people started. I started my career as an IT support analyst some years back. And so this is the beginning of most people where they start. And women that are interested can also start from here because it's very, very easy to learn. Another one is the web development. So if you are creative, a lot of women are creative. They like building things. They like, designing things, beautiful things. The most beautiful websites, I'll tell you, are developed by women. I was in charge of the trade desk, a company I worked for a couple of years back, and I had about almost 200 outsourced IT staff, but they were based in India. Guess what? Most of them were women. They don't even speak English. I have an interpreter that most of the time was interpreting for me, and they did a outstanding job. So, and you can learn how to be a web developer. There are tools available. In fact, there are hubs, there are incubating hubs, innovation centers, even in Nigeria right now, that can teach you coding. I'm going to talk about that in the next few slides, where women interested in web development, or similarly, programming. Programming is just similar to web development, but it's mainly done for your applications, right? So you can design applications for your computers that you can install on your maybe a Windows-based system or Linux-based system or other operating systems. So I will just group web programming and web development and programming together. So these are where software, and they make a lot of money, and it is flexible. You can work at your time and at your convenience. So this is highly sought after, especially as Nigeria is going fintech everywhere. You're hearing that this is the area. If you have proficiency in this area, I tell you, the banks are looking for you, the power sectors are looking for you, the educational industry, they're looking for you. Everybody's looking for programmers. Computer engineering are mainly people that have knowledge about the programming code on how to build operating systems and engines that run big complex systems. So this is not really, I'll put it this way, we don't have big companies that utilize this skill set yet in Nigeria. So I noticed that a lot of people that study computer engineers in Nigeria end up being like a network engineer, working in such fields like that. So they are not really building like motherboards or building IO devices or things that like artificial intelligence. They are not really using that. But if you are interested in this is well sought after. Imagine in Nigeria today, we don't even build a mouse. Nobody is manufacturing a mouse. As simple as that technology is, nobody is building a mouse. So people that studied computer engineering, you can build that. We don't even build a screen, a computer screen. So there's so many aspects that we can just take one part. You don't have to build just the piece of a computer. You don't need to do everything. Take one aspect, build a keyboard, become to start manufacturing just the keyboard, right? Or build the speaker. So many opportunities for women to take advantage, either as an investor or as taking as a career path to work in that space. The next one is the database administrator. Part of what we're going to be doing when you transform your business, you are going to be generating more data. You are going to be generating data that you need somebody to manipulate so that you can derive, make business decisions from that data. And who does that? It's a database administrator, somebody that have knowledge and insight into your data and can manage that and protect your data and be able to manage on a day-to-day basis. You have Microsoft SQL, you have Oracle, you have PostScript, you have Access, so you have different type of database. So you can actually take advantage, and the salary is awesome, especially in Nigeria right now. I know for me, what we pay our database administrators is even more than some entry-level engineers, because they are highly sought after, and the skills are not readily available. So women can take advantage of this. And if you are an Oracle database administrator, you are going to attract salaries in the 20s in Nigeria. And if you are very good at it, you can work anywhere. In fact, right now, because you are a resident in Nigeria doesn't mean you cannot work anywhere. I have folks in Nigeria that are working for companies, international companies outside the country, doing database administrative work. The next one that I have here, these are just examples. I'm just trying to give you an example to kind of interest you in IT. So there's so many areas that I've not touched about. I just wanted to give you a pointer into what your expectations should look like. System administrators are people that are fixed in charge of our data centers, in charge of our servers, the operating system, maintaining the day-to-day operation of a data center. Very few women in this space, very few women. And you can take advantage. You can be laying, for example, Microsoft Server 2016, 2019. You can become a Linux expert, and you can learn that within a 3 to 4 months duration. You can actually learn these skills, and you can get a job with that and begin your career with internship with that knowledge. So this is my last slide. I know I've taken a little bit of your time, so I try to shorten this presentation. So how do you begin if you don't have these skills? You can do training, workshop, boot camp. So I've listed some available resources in Nigeria here that you can easily look at for women that are interested in coding or becoming a software developer or in other IT skills that I've mentioned. There are companies that present that. Some of them are online, some of them you have to be there in person, but most of them are reasonably priced. So you can offer, you can take some of these classes. So they are here, and you can also go online. I believe companies like WIEN will have probably even better resources than these that are presented here, especially for women that are interested in technology. So that is my presentation. I'm happy to take any question.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Martin, for your insightful and, of course, educative session today. I'm hoping that I can get questions. I'm looking to see if there's anyone that has any question to ask Martin. Martin has really spent some time just showing us the benefits of technology in any part of the business, not just power, and of course, the opportunities that also lies ahead for us as women. So questions, please, for Martin. Anyone? Any questions? Any contribution, clarification, comments? All right, Sekina, please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Martins. It was a very, very insightful presentation. So I would like to talk about the funding aspect. So one of the issues we know about the power sector today is, funding, liquidity, and all of that. And like we said, for us to build the, future and do all this fantastic technological transformation, how do you think, how would you suggest that power sector players can go about this journey, bearing in mind the limitations to funding?
I think that is a very good question. But the good news is that there are angel investors right now in Nigeria soliciting for great ideas that they can invest in. And they are cropping up. You notice that a lot of Nigerians have money. They don't just know what to invest in. But the problem is they don't have trust. What I've noticed, at least I have attended so many investment summits now in Nigeria, and I begin to see that pattern that there's that trust that is missing. So yes, you present a good idea, but can I trust this person with my money? I think that is the question. And techies need to be able to overcome. So what I encourage, or what I always tell young investors, I'm working with a company right now, I'm mentoring them. They're building a fine financial application. And I said, start small, show progress, right? So you build an application, for example, right? And your goal is 1 million customer, right? But you can have 1,000. Start with just 1,000. Now, with 1,000, you can take that to an investor and say, this is my application with minimal resources, with no funding. I'm able to get 1,000 customers, and I'm getting, this is my ROI based on what I have put in. Now, if you give me $1 million or you give me $5 million, this is what I can do. That is a different conversation that I'm having now, versus you go meet an investor and you're just giving them an idea and it's in concept. They're not saying it. Technology is coming up in Nigeria. A lot of people are not really, they are not saying that yet. It's not like when you are building something, like I'm selling something, like a brick and mortar store. It's virtual. So they are not seeing that value. But when you are able to break it down into tangible things that they can relate with, they can see, then it helps the conversation, and that trust that trust issue can be eliminated. I hope I answer your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Martin. Anyone else that has a question for Martins? I have a comment. Just, as you were speaking about the opportunities on how to obviously empower people who are already probably skilled in other areas, I'm thinking maybe we'll talk to you, myself, maybe the president, on how you can also partner with WIEN to help us, develop such opportunities for women that are part of the WIEN group. So I think we'll take that offline. So thank you very much for sharing that opportunity for us. I picked up on that. Oh, Fumi, go ahead.
Absolutely, I picked up on that also. And I really enjoyed the presentation. For a long time in the upstream oil industry, we keep banging on about digital transformation. And it was quite difficult, particularly on the, on the government, in the government organizations. So to see power sector that we normally would think is is almost sort of like the younger brother of the oil sector, being quite forward-thinking and embracing digital transformation and technology adoption is really good. And I noted your comments about how, because that's something I've always wondered about. Why is it that you cannot just put credits in your meter and it appears in the meter? Why do you have to go and punch? Why is it that there's no advancement in that space? So it's very interesting that you presented around it. And I just wanted you to speak a bit more around some of the...
Let me this part of the
This is the downside of digital transformation, I suppose. Yeah, so I was just wanting you to say a bit more about some of the advancements in metering and whether you see that as also an opportunity for women to get involved in meter installation and sort of the metering side of things. So I'm aware there's a huge metering gap in the country. So I wanted you to speak a bit more about some of the opportunities there and about some of the advancements in that segment. Thank you.
I believe the MD of Ikeja is probably even more qualified to even speak on that. The biggest meter manufacturer in Nigeria right now is a woman. So they're already taking that space, actually, and they're doing very well. So we have meter manufacturers in Nigeria, but we don't have the installers. I have not seen women installers. So the technology embedded in meter, most of them are not manufactured in Nigeria. They are all outsourced. So mostly when we say the manufactured meters in Nigeria, they are actually assembling. Even at that, we don't have the skill set sufficient enough that can do that. I've visited China, India, so many other countries looking at some of these companies that manufacture meters. And if you go to the assembly line and you go to the processes how they do that, it's mostly done by women. It's mostly, there's a company that I helped, and guided that they have started a little bit operation in Ibadan, trying to start assembling the meters here. So there's a lot of opportunities in that area because the metering gap in Nigeria, as we all know, is probably more than 10 million and maybe even more. So, and the meters are in short supply. So women can take advantage of that, especially when you provide those ones that have embedded or smart technology that can actually add value to our customers. Like the instance that I mentioned, that is actually there. I know one of our vendors came to demo that for us a couple of years ago, and we are able to vent directly, right? But the problem is most of the technologies that we have, they are, how will I call it? They are within that company. They don't share. So if I deploy technology for a meter company A, right, and you can vend remotely and do all that kind of work, I have to buy the similar technology for meter B. Again, the meter A does not talk to meter B. So you see a lot of silo deployments like that. I noticed that in Nigeria. And unfortunately, meter A doesn't have sufficient meters to, to give to a disco. So you end up buying from meter manufacturer A, B, C, D, and then you pollute the area with several type of meters, which it's not best for the industry because you are not able to manage your meter inventory properly. You are not able to maintain it, and even to buy the parts for those meters become a challenge. Whereas where I've worked in the country, other country, part of the world, you have a dedicated meter supply for this disco, and we know the manufacturer, we know the meter type, we have the technology embedded, security architecture embedded in those meters, so that we can provide protect our investors, right? And we can protect the revenue from those investors. Most of these are missing in Nigeria. So now, if an investor can take advantage of this, have enough resources that can say, you know what, I'm going to invest in this area to provide maybe 2 million meters. I tell you, there are going to be uptakers, especially now in Nigeria. Obviously, you need to be registered with NEC, the regulatory process to be registered as a meter access provider. But once that is done, it's an opportunity for any investor, especially the women investor, that they can come into this space and own it. And the good news is that there are a lot of women already in this space doing outstanding well in Nigeria today.
But who pays you when you what is the model? How does it work when you when you invest in meter manufacturing, for example? First of all, do you as a DISCO have some standards that you've laid out to say, okay, these are the kinds of meters that we would take. This is how to register if you want to supply us or supply our customers with meters. Because I'd imagine that you guys will see meters as your cash machine. And if you're a supermarket, you don't outsource your cash machine without proper guidance.
That is true. You are totally correct. So there's a metering standard in Nigeria, and that is from NEC. So it kind of provides a baseline of the requirement of what a meter should look like in Nigeria. But in addition to that, there's feasibilities for the DISCO to add to that requirement to ensure that it protects your investments, right? So you are at liberty to modify that, not too much, but still within the confines of the regulatory metering standard. So you can have that, and that is what you now provide to the meter manufacturers and say, hey, I need you to manufacture based on this specification. For example, I mentioned advanced metering infrastructure earlier. So the meters must be compliance with your existing system. So some of the basic things that are there are, COSEM is a technology that is used to integrate that, to share information so that, for example, I'm able to read those meters remotely. So they have to use that into topology or technology to share information. So there are various specifications in that regard. So I'm not even going to talk about the measurement aspect. So there are also specifications by how a meter should be like, especially in terms of the environmental tolerance level and other aspects, what a meter specification should look like. All that is what is presented to a meter manufacturer and they go out and manufacture. Now, you ask the question, how do they get paid? Well, as of today in Nigeria, the DISCO are responsible for metering. So eventually they will be the one that will pay the meter manufacturers for meters that are deployed in their network. I know they are getting assistance from, well, I won't call it, it's basically a loan to help facilitate some of this aspect, but eventually they will be responsible for payments.
Okay, thank you. That provides a lot of clarity. Thank you. And thank you for a very informative presentation.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, Martin. Because of time, and I'm conscious because there's one more speaker, there's a question in the chat box. If you don't mind responding to that question in the chat box so that we can at least bring on the third speaker. You know how it is. It's Friday evening. People want to go, either go to bed or they want to go and have a drink or a meal. So we're going to, thank you very much, Martin, for your time and for the session. Very, very useful and insightful. So we're going to bring on Ugochukwu now, who is the last speaker for the day. Ugochukwu, please, over to you. You can share your slides and we'd like to see your face. Martin, we didn't see your face. Okay, that's a good now.
Okay, I hope you guys see my face. Let me do some mic check first. Can you hear me?
Esther, go there. No negotiate. Esther.
Your chicken.
Can you see me? It's not me. I think it's somebody else's speaker.
can
But
see
can you guys hear me? You can hear me as well.
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Great.
All right, great. All right, good evening, everyone. Let me share my slide. I hope that this won't take too much time. All right, first of all, thanks, Martin, for a great job. I think you basically made my job a lot easier. It's good that somebody else from the power sector is running this present, at least had come before me. So that sort of helps explain some of the things that I would also attempt to go through. All right, so I will start first with this. If we can all just there's somebody stop that is on. Can I all just mute? All right, so I will just start with a short video, and if you all can just indulge me. All right, so this here is nowhere else. This is not Kano, this is not Sokoto, this is not India. What you're seeing here is Lagos. This is an Ikeja electric network, and very swampy area, and it's not necessarily because of rain. And this is actually because of just how the terrain is. So there is a fault here that they are trying to fix. And there is someone paddling one of our staffs here. And you can see them basically trying to find their way to where perhaps the fault might just be, because they really don't know where the fault is. So you can see them basically paddling on and on. This is just, in a nutshell, how difficult it is for electricity engineers to do their job sometimes. When there's power outages and people say, oh, no light, this is really what it takes sometimes just to get these things fixed. And as you can see, they've now found what was wrong. It's what is called a port insulator, just at the tip here. You can see it. So this is basically why an entire community was out of supply. And our engineers basically figured it out. And you can imagine what it takes to go and fix faults like this. Let's make no mistakes about it. This is the experience everywhere in most of our networks, because we have feeders running across various communities, underwater, overhead, across bushes. That's basically our life today. And I thought it was important that I start this way, because you really can't go digital or try to be innovative without trying to solve a problem. You've got to be able to solve the problem in front of you first before you even start to go digital and start to maybe want to be the smart distribution company of the future or something. You got to be able to use technology to at least address the problems that you have today. And so this is basically going to be my outline. I trust it's possible to keep this. Let me try and put my timer on so I can keep this within 30 minutes, because if you guys allow me, I can just go on and on and on. Yes, so I have that done. All right, so why go digital? That's the question. I'm sure that a lot of you have in your mind. Why should we go digital? Why should distribution companies go digital? After all you want is just lights, and nobody really cares and more than that. But for us, it's about survival. First of all, if you just check this out, just over a decade ago, ExxonMobil, Apple, PetroChina, these were basically the biggest companies in the world. Not like that anymore today. Today, Apple is still there somewhere, but you've got Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and there's Tesla somewhere, along the line there. And that kind of just shows you that to be the biggest company in the world today, you got to have some, tech and some, digital business wrapped around your business, no matter how you say it. I was listening to a podcast a few days ago, and they were talking about, it was someone who wrote a book about, I think it's Alex Newman, the founder of which what's the name of Walk. That's this company that had this workspace in the US that went for an IPO and ended up being a scandal, forgotten the name. And basically a real estate company, but he kind of like packaged it as a tech company, and at the end of the day, his valuation was over $60 billion. And that's because, at the end of the day, people just don't want you to come out and say, oh, I'm into trucking or I'm into logistics. Is it wrapped around tech? Because that really is where the value is. So that's for most business in the world. But for us today in the distribution company, it's really about survival. And that's why, for us, digital transformation and technology matters, because if we don't adopt technology and innovation, we're simply just going to die. That's it. And it's going to be a very painful one. And I'm just going to show you one more video, something else, just to give you an idea of why, technology is very important for us. And so if you check, just look at this. I'm just going to talk through this video. Now, this is a hotel somewhere in our network. And you've got our men, basically going out doing their typical job of trying to detect energy theft. And it has been a huge problem for us in the sector. And in the past, it's been very difficult trying to find people who steal energy. So we tend to rely a lot on technology, a lot on analytics, which I will get to at some point in this presentation. And sometimes these things just point you to areas of losses. And so our men kind of homed in around this neighborhood. And we're like, this losses has got to be somewhere here, somewhere around this area. And then went on, check the meter, it's fine, nothing wrong with the meter, check the pole, everything is fine. But then technology tells you it's here, it's got to be somewhere here. And then we got into this place and then we started digging. And there was, hit on the wall, breaking the wall. And then you can see what they've basically done here is to just what you call, a classic bypass, right? So, customers can be so brazen that they're not just going to, bypass your meter right from the meter point. They will go right. They will be creative. So if these guys are innovative and smart and creative about how to steal, it kind of tells you just how much work and why technology and innovation is very important to us as a distribution company. So it's just no two ways about it. And at the end of the day, we kind of caught these guys and disconnected them and had them pay what you call you back bill them. But you've got so many of them like this. And for us, for example, in Ikeja Electric, theft like this, energy theft like this cost us billions of naira. And so if you have, losses like this due to theft costing you over $1 billion on a monthly basis, that alone is a reason why you've got to innovate quickly. And like they say, innovate or die. You've got to innovate, you've got to embrace technology. And I think it was Folake who had said earlier that our mantra is customer first, technology now. And that's it. Nothing more than that, because without technology, we can't immediately start to address issues like this. Because when we address issues like this and start to reduce the losses, then we have enough money to continue to invest in technology, continue to invest in some of the great things that's going on now in the energy sector across the world. So that basically is just an example of how technology is very important to us, because without technology, we probably wouldn't have been able to get to this place. But before then, people like this would have probably stolen energy for months, if not years. And you can imagine what the losses are. There's so many cases like this that we catch almost on a daily basis. And with the use of technology, we're able to do this pretty much faster and get better results. So that, guys, is just an example of why we need technology, or else we'll just die. What is the digital state of the power sector today? I think Martin did a good job at basically taking you guys through some of the challenges that we have in the power sector at the moment. Today, the power sector, largely, like some of our colleagues would like to say, a bit primitive. Customers have different kind of expectation in terms of what they want, in the sector. We also have challenges with, accounting for the energy that we get. You can see energy sometimes flowing through from the grid all the way down to the customer's premises, and along the line somewhere you can't account for it. So you've sent out like 100 units of energy, and then back when you're collecting your money, you can't account for 100, you're accounting for like 60, and that essentially are huge losses. And these losses are really a problem. That's probably one of the reasons why it's very difficult to have steady power supply, because if distribution companies can't collect some of the money that represents the energy that they're giving out to their customers, then they can't even invest in new technologies or new developments, or invest in a network that can provide the kind of energy that you expect. In terms of connection as well, a lot of our customers complain about how long it takes to get them connected. In some cases, you can see customers takes them a month, weeks just to get connected. I mean, kind of like as if you're trying to apply for an international passport in Nigeria. So these are some of the things that we've identified as challenges, and we're trying to resolve. Fault and maintenance. I did mention the previous video that you saw was a typical example of why you need to have technology to address how quickly you're able to clear faults, and how you're able to implement your preventive maintenance schedules, and these things. This basically is the sector that we have today. A lot of developed countries, they've basically gone past all these challenges, and in most countries that are very well developed, utility companies are one of the most steady source of revenues and one of the most consistent businesses you can ever have, because I mean, once you get it right, I mean, the cash flows are just very steady, and almost never ends, because you have a product that is almost inelastic in terms of the way it is. So for us, it's important that we get past this stage. So we're trying to evolve, and there's new trends in the electricity sector. How we connect customers are a bit different now. And Ikeja Electric, we've basically revamped our entire customer onboarding system. We continue to improve on that. So today, rather than go to our network and you have to get onboarded, filling paper forms, what we're trying to do now is to see how people can get onboarded, digitally. So you should be able to just come to our you pick up your mobile phone, log into the Ikeja Electric app, and then just tell us you want to be a customer, and then that's it, and you're done within 10 minutes. And somebody will come visit your location, assess your location, and then advise you on some of the things that you need to have to get connected, and that's it. Within 24, 48 hours, you're connected, and that's basically how we're trying to improve on some of our services. In terms of solar batteries and renewables, these are new technologies in the business today. Ikeja Electric is partnering, and we're always willing to partner with companies that are in renewables. There are a number of them that we're currently talking to. The challenges, of course, has always been the price point, and that's always what we've always told some of our renewable partners. How do we get this renewables into the grid at such a price that our customers can also embrace? Because price is also very important, and where you have renewable energy or innovation coming into a system, and then the price is much higher than what people can pay for, then that's a challenge. And like we always say, look, people want 24-hour steady power supply, but at an affordable cost. I mean, that's the reality. People don't want to pay out of the roof just to get affordable electricity. And Internet of Things, IoT, is something that is driving the sector today across the world. It's something that we're also looking to embrace in Ikeja Electric. Today, you have things like smart homes, where by just pressing a button in your office. Imagine you leave in your office and you just want to have maybe your AC turned on before you get home. From just a button from your office, you can just tell Alexa to turn everything on. And this thing, we get things like this, outside most parts of the world, and not yet in Nigeria. But we acknowledge innovations like this, and these are things that we're currently inculcating, or we are introducing into our systems. And with time, a lot of Nigerians start to see some of our IoT driven electricity. Distributed technologies are also very important. We do also acknowledge that there are technologies that are currently in incubation across the world that could perhaps even eliminate the use of wires. Maybe through infrared as well. We are aware of these things and we're tracking it, and be very sure that these are things that would inculcate. So this is basically Ikeja Electric's digital transformation pathway. These are the things that we intend to do over the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm just going to take you through some of them. So today, for a traditional distribution company, power will go from from generation, and then it goes to transmission, and it goes to distribution, and it goes to the customer, right? This is basically the value chain. But today we realize and we appreciate that this thing is changing. The regulator wants it to change. You don't want to have just a one-dimensional flow of power to customers. You want to be sure that you have a grid that can have multiple supply sources and then multiple distribution sources as well, so that you can just have different kind of customer demands. So power can come from generation companies, it can come from, and then you can get it distributed to distribution companies. We can distribute ourselves. We should be able to store that energy and redistribute again to our customers. We should be able to power smart grid technology. We should be able to, service customers of all range, whether it's people who want electrical vehicle charging, we should be able to do that. So different kind of things that we should be able to do. So for us, we kind of believe that within the next 3 to 5 years, you're not going to see Ikeja Electric as just a distribution company. It's got to be something like a digital utility company, because remember what I said earlier, we don't believe that there's got to be if you want value in any company or in any business in this world, and you don't wrap digital identity around it, then you're not going to get the most value for your business. So for us, that is also where we're basically going to at the moment in terms of how we're executing. And a lot of the things that we've done today to address the problem, the challenges of now, because that's also very important. You're going to be able to address challenges you have today before you start to address the one of tomorrow. And efficiency loss reduction, this most important objective of any distribution company. Revenue growth. Revenue growth means if you don't give people a lot more energy, then you can't grow your revenue. So you got to be able to give people a lot more energy. You got to be able to improve customer experience as well. So that's also something that we take very seriously. And then, of course, reduce cost of operations, because as a highly regulated, sector, how well you're able to operate within an acceptable cost limit is also important to how much margins you're able to keep, and then how cheap as well your electricity prices can be. And so to address these things, you're just not going to do them with the same way we've been doing things in the past. So this is something that we recognized in Ikeja Electric years ago. And we started by basically making technology a cornerstone of how we execute. And so whether it's through descriptive analytics, like I told you earlier on, where we use analysis to basically tell us where our customers are stealing energy or where we're having losses. That helps us, reduce, commercial losses and collection losses. We also use technology to, drive how, our workforce operates. Today, Ikeja Electric was the pioneer of electronic billing. Ikeja Electric was also the pioneer of electronic meter reading. So for over 4 or 5 years now, we don't have employees who go out to read your meter physically. We just, when they go out, they go with their mobile phone, they read your meter, and then they punch it into the mobile phone, and then we get it at the back end, and it's analyzed, and your bills are out. This basically cut our billing from about 14 days to just under 5 days. And it might interest you to note that when we did start this, right, we had about 140,000 what you call analog meters. But by the time we brought in technology into how, we capture meter readings, it fell drastically to about 50,000. Why? Because a lot of those meters were obsolete. And so, but, you wouldn't know if you didn't have technology, because at the time, what would happen is that you have employees go out, they tell you they read the meter, they probably haven't even read it, they just enter it manually into a piece of paper, and then they bring it back, and then you end up billing. But you're not billing rightly because, the meter isn't even working. And remember what I said about energy accounting and energy accountability. So for us, technology helped, drastically reduce, the amount of wrong billing that we're getting, in the organization. And that also had a huge effect on how we also estimate customers. Because, one thing with estimating customers is if you don't know how much customers that are metered, your metered customers are consuming in terms of power, then it becomes even more difficult for you to estimate. And because you're estimating, you're already not even getting the right thing. So you have to try as much as possible to estimate fairly. And so this actually helped us a whole lot. Now, in terms of safety as well, we use technology as well to drive, to improve the safety work of our workmen. We take this very seriously, even as high as the board level. So today, we've developed standalone applications for our customers, to just come in and enter safety. If you see if there's anywhere within our network where you see a wire snap or a pole about to fall, just log into our iSafe app, send us a message, and there's always somebody immediately who's going to respond to that. And our safety applications also help our workmen as well, our engineers in the field, when they're going out. So whether it's through understanding or rehashing your safety protocols or implementing safety protocols on the go, those applications are very much useful. In terms of maintenance and performance as well, we rely a lot on predictive modeling algorithms just to also track how our field, how we're performing, whether it's estimating demand load or estimating how customers in certain areas will customer behavior, especially in times when there are power downtimes, and you need to also collect some of the money that from the energy that they consumed months before. These things all help us, and without this kind of technology, it makes it very, very difficult to achieve some of the results that we expected to achieve. So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing with technology at the moment in Ikeja Electric. So these are just a cross-section of some of the applications that we have. We have a customer information system. It's a world-class billing system that we have in Ikeja Electric. We deployed it. One of the first things that we did, and this was basically the bedrock of our digital transformation in Ikeja Electric. So today, at the time when we came in, I think we had about 500,000 customers. Today, we have about 1.1 million customers. And this was basically enabled because of the kind of customer information system that we have, because then it's easier for us to capture our customers, easier for us to understand and know who our customers are. And this is still a journey, by the way, so it's not like we're there yet. From our mobile work and IE Force application, these applications help our men, our staff, whether it's our field operating staff, our engineers, our marketers. They use these applications to work. So you imagine you're getting out of your work, you have a mobile phone, you can enter it and enter your task for the day. And then when you're out there, your manager can also send you additional tasks if you need to. If you need to take pictures of maybe for example, the bypass that I showed you, energy theft, you can take pictures of it and then send back to the analyst at the back end, and they can quickly run analytics for you. If you think maybe you met a customer who you're having issues with, the customer is not happy with his bill, you can easily bring out your mobile phone and then pick up information from the customer. These things are all important applications that we basically develop in-house, and these are applications that either we work with our internal engineers or software engineers, that is, or developers outside of Ikeja Electric. We continue to partner with people to get some of these things done. Electronic billing is one of such applications as well, that we brought into the sector. So today, there is not a single person that gets a bill on paper. It's just completely, this is something that, it's outdated in our system. So if you want to get a bill, you simply just log into your mobile app or go online or use your USSD application, and you get your bills easily, and then you can pay. So these are, an example of some of the things, technology that we have. And this is just a cross section of a lot of them. There's just so many, standalone applications that we have today in Ikeja Electric that helps improve how we work. So this thing should not amount to something, and its results. So, from 2015, when we came in, when we were, recording losses of 44%, this basically means for every 100 naira that we're receiving, we're losing 44 of it. We couldn't account for it at all. So that means it becomes very difficult for you to even remit to the market or even invest within your network. And from here, we've gone from 44 to about 29 percent efficiency. And interesting to note that just before COVID-19, this figure was a lot better. It was actually about 19%. If not for COVID-19, I'm pretty sure that we should have cracked the 20% ceiling. And yes, we don't like to benchmark ourselves against numbers like this. We typically like to benchmark ourselves against the best in the world. But within Nigeria, we'll proudly say we'll modestly say we're one of the best in terms of being able to use technology to drive performance. So what is the innovation of the future? Like I said earlier, you got to be able to address energy theft. And Martin's made a good point about using smart meters, and it's something that we've also taken seriously. In fact, in 2015, 16, we were one of the first distribution companies to deploy AMI-driven smart meters. In fact, we're also the first to deploy AMR technology, which means we metered all our distribution points from our feeders. Feeders are those lines that you see running across network. Everything metered, all our transformers metered. And then we also now had smart meter, because at that time, the thinking was basically, look, if you understand the flow of energy from the grid all the way to where the customer is, then it's easier for you to look at losses. But sometimes you learn from some of these things. And we learned that smart meters, who knows, perhaps isn't really the solution here. Nigeria is a very peculiar environment, and you've got to be able to develop, bespoke meters and meters that would work for you. I think there was somebody who mentioned earlier that how can you create meters, that when you load or when you buy energy, it just goes straight without you having to punch it. And that's basically what we're developing at the moment. It's called Intelligent Data Box. So our Intelligent Data Box in Ikeja Electric is meant to revolutionize how customer energy is captured, customer consumption is captured, how payment is made, and then it's meant to be a box that is almost impossible to bypass. And that is something that we develop internally. It's something that we're very, very proud of, and something that we continue to push. Energy management is also very important. We're also developing SCADA systems that we're introducing into the sector just to help improve our coverage of our network remotely. And demand-side management is also something that we take very seriously. At the moment, demand-side management helps you basically understand the demand of power, particularly in industrial clusters where we have a lot of customers. I mean, I don't think there's any distribution company in Nigeria that has as much industrial customers as Ikeja Electric. So understanding their demand and what they need as they also continue to expand is very important for us. And we can only do this through demand-side management aided by technology. So for clearing, through the use of drones, Martin's mentioned this as well. This is something that we're doing. We've currently taken stock of some drones, which we would likely start to implement towards the end of this year. Issues like that we had, like in my earlier slide, where you saw our men going through streams just to basically clear faults, are some of the things that we are introducing as well. And we believe that these are the things that most distribution companies across Nigeria should also adopt. And I'm happy that, Martin's, as he had alluded, they're also doing that as well. So for us, this is something that we will continue to do. In terms of using technology to drive, omni-channels and, being closer to your customer, it's very important. So whether, talking to your customers through remotely, today, if some of us can talk to each other via Zoom, then we should be able to do that as well. Your customers should be able to reach you remotely via video connections or video calls. And these are things that we're introducing. And we think that for the power sector, it's very important that we continue to invest in technology that improves customer experience. In terms of operations, like I mentioned earlier, we had so many standalone applications, and being able to have all these applications connect with each other is driven by an enterprise data warehouse, which we're also pioneering, in the sector. One thing that that's very synonymous with a lot of distribution companies is data. That is because of the enormous amount of customers that we have. We believe that apart from just selling electricity, there's a lot that we can do for the industry. There's a lot that we can do for the economy. We can provide businesses with a lot of ideas. We can partner with businesses on how to provide services and products that help improve the lives of people. These are some of the things that we can do, and we believe that there is something in there that we have that we can help use to sort of monetize how that the kind of assets that we have in Ikeja Electric. So EV, I'm not going to speak too much about that. Smart homes, I think I covered that earlier as well. If you want to have a smart grid, the advantages of having a smart grid, basically, sorry, just 1 second. Yeah. So reduce power cost. If you have technology in your system, it helps you enhance energy management, project customer demand, reduce greenhouse emissions, as well as handle diverse sources of power supply. So these are just some of the advantages of investing in technology and also operating a smart grid. Power utility companies across the world can accelerate digital transformation by focusing on changes in these three areas. You got to also, look at how you adopt digital ways of working. So one thing that COVID-19 taught us earlier on last year was how you can also leverage on technology to improve productivity of your employees. And so today in Ikeja Electric, you have nearly half of our staff working from home. And despite working from home, we haven't actually seen productivity drop. Rather, you have a lot of people who have enough time on their hands, who are able to avoid all the issues and stress with commuting and put in a lot more work. And you also have a very young, population of analysts, technology enthusiasts in the business who want to, who like to operate in a gig economy. They want to work from home. They want to work from a bar. They want to work, from anywhere that's convenient for them. And we've sort of also, tweaked our working environment and our workspace to accommodate a lot of these things. And I think it's very important if you are transitioning into a digital world. That also helps you attract, talent as well as also helps you, you also have to also modernize the kind of infrastructure that you have, the kind of environment where they work. People are used to, working in a different way. The world is very small now, so they see how work is, for their contemporaries in the US, in Canada, and UK, even in Kenya. And they want to have that kind of environment as well. So that's basically some of the things that we are introducing now. So for us, in terms of how our digital transformation model is working, we will, all of the apps today that we have, whether it's helping us with descriptive analysis, diagnostic analysis, algorithms, prescriptive analysis, basically push them into an enterprise data warehouse. And once you have stuff like this, then you can start to make strategic decisions. You can have better information that can help you control outage management, asset optimization, and even data monetization. These are just some of the things that technology can do for you, especially in the distribution side of the power sector. And we believe that once the right investment is made in this area, but apart from people getting 24-hour power supply, this service is just going to be much better. And then customers can also benefit from a lot of these things. And I think Martin alluded to it. If you go to the US today, you can basically use your roof, to carry solar power and then sell it back to the grid and then use that to offset your bills. So, but for you to be able to do that, you've got to be able to leverage on technology immensely. And that's some of the things that we're doing today in Ikeja Electric. So in terms of our digital transformation roadmap for us internally, this is what we're doing. And we believe that, if there's anybody out there who is willing to partner with us, we are eager to partner. We are fully in digital transformation mode in Ikeja Electric. On the short term, we are revamping our entire customer journey. We want to redefine it and make it smoother, make it better, make it easier, make it more acceptable to our customers. Customers are very used to mobile apps today. They're used to doing everything on their mobile phone. So that means we also have to adapt to what customers do today. So we're basically changing the entire thing, the entire infrastructure. It's happening in the banking sector. So why not in the utility space, especially power utility space? So that's what we're doing. In the medium term, we also want to digitalize how we onboard our customers fully, and that is data monetization is what we're also looking at. Migrating, introduce data governance, structure within our business, and then medium term as well, upgrading most of our technology today. Every single thing we're basically migrating to the cloud. This has started already. So if you've got people within your association who have skills and who have interest in these areas, we are willing and we are open to work with them, because we don't see ourselves as just a power utility company. We actually see ourselves as a tech power company, a power tech company. That's how we like to style ourselves in Ikeja Electric. And most distribution companies, we believe, should start to also move towards technology and adopting technology, because that is the only way that we can sort of satisfy our customers and give our customers value for what they're paying for, and more importantly, create jobs. create jobs, create new value chains across the business, not just the existing value chains you have. You can build a whole lot of value chain just around some of these things. Today, MTN doesn't only sell recharge cards; they do a lot more than that. You can see them, applying for mobile money licenses. You can even see them foraying into power sector, and they're doing a lot of stuff as well in other areas, and that alone has ripple effects, creates different kind of value chains, and that's basically what we're also trying to replicate. Perhaps in a different way. But it's something that it's a mandate that we have in it, and it's something that we think that we should do. In the future, beyond 2023, this is what we see as a typical smart platform, a smart business, so where you have a smart home sitting in the middle, and then you have all this kind of support running around it. That is the future that a lot of people are already running on today, and for us. We're going to embrace this, and I think that distribution companies around Nigeria are also thinking in this direction. And so whether it's in Ikeja or in Iko or in Benin or in Kaduna, people need support to actualize these things. And there are opportunities out here for everyone. So if this is something that interests you, something that you want to do, I think we got to start looking around. These people want help; they all want support. But like I said, what is more important is that the immediate support is the kind of technology that can help reduce some of the losses that we're having today. So once that is done, and then we can start to move into different things that can help improve businesses across Nigeria. So that in a nutshell is my presentation. I said I was going to do this under 30 minutes. Folake, I hope I tried. This is another video, but I think I'll just skip this one. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ugo, for your presentation. I saw the president's hand. I can't see it anymore. Okay, I see Asanimo. Asanimo, please, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, and thank you, Ugo, for the wonderful revelations about the Ikeja journey and the power sector in general. Okay, from a customer perspective, right, I am concerned very much about my billing. I'm using myself as a case here, and how I've been categorized into tier A, guaranteeing me 22 hours of light daily, and on the highest tariff. I am presently carrying out a study in my house to log in my hours because I don't even get 12 hours of light, but I have the highest tariff. And I'm wondering, how did I get categorized? I'm not in Ikeja, I'm sorry, I'm in Port Harcourt, but I want to believe that there's some laws governing the power sector to just educate me a bit so that I know how to push my case. So how do we manage our billing from the customer perspective in summary? Because I know there was some concern on our platform the other day about high billing in Lagos also. So that's why I think you can throw some lights for me. And that is my first question. I have another, but a different question. If you can answer me, please.
All right, thanks, Asanimo. So
hold on, I'm trying to manage time. Let us take, if I can take the questions and then just note them and then answer them together. So Asanimo, you can ask your second question, and then the president also, she can ask that question.
Okay, good, fine. My second question is that there was a slide you showed, but you didn't talk about it. You showed about the downward trend of customer experience, the billing going downwards. I thought you were going to talk about it, but you didn't. So what are the opportunities for women, mostly for WIEN members, to be vendors, to benefit from this your roadmap? Are there special things that we can do to have rights of first refusal, as Folake is sitting on that throne? For WIEN, particularly, this sisterhood I'm talking about, I'm exploiting. Can you tell us about that if there is? Thank you.
I knew that was coming, Ugo. Presido, thank you. Over to you.
In fact, Asanimo took the words right out of my mouth, because as Ugo was presenting, the next thing I thought is that he'll whip out a contract and I'll say, please, where should I sign? Because I think I speak on behalf of all of us at WIEN. We're completely sold. We're very impressed with what you're doing. We think this is the right direction and we want to get on board. We want to get on board as customers, as vendors, as everything. So for those of us that are in business and want to register as vendors or want to do business with you, how can we come on board? For those of us that may want to work for you as staff, how can we come on board? For those of us that want to invest, because it seems like such a nice growth story, how can we get on board? So essentially what I want to know is, what are the opportunities for women across board in concrete terms? Because we've spent 4 hours of our Friday evening. As Asanimo said, you are sitting on the throne as our sister. So we must be part of this journey of success and of growth that we can see with Ikeja Electric.
All right, thank you. Folake, can I respond now?
Okay. Yes, okay, there's one more. One that's put us in trouble. Your daughter, it's okay. Oh, that's your wife, actually. Go ahead. It's okay.
No, I actually, President already asked the question I wanted to ask, so I was trying to not raise my hand because I was waiting for his answer about the opportunities.
I think as many of us that ask it, maybe to hear
about the opportunities for women, because it really does sound like a very wonderful growth map for us. So we want to know how we can key into it, because if this really goes, that means power is the industry to be in. So I'm very interested. Thank you.
Ugo, over to you. I knew that was going to come.
Thanks for all the questions. So if the question can be coming from my house to say this, that's a very important one. All right, so let me start with how the first question from Asanimo on deals. So we operate what you call a service-based tariff today. And what that basically means is your tariff is based on how many hours of availability that you have. So if you're supposed to be on 20 hours on an average per day, and you're not getting that, what should typically happen is over a 3-month period, there's an assessment that is done. And on the average, if it is seen that your power was below 20 hours on the average, so it's not like so there can be days where you might not even get at all. So the stage that we're in now is basically on the average. So if you find out that on the average, you've done below 20 hours, then you're expected to get a refund for the tariff that you're being charged, because that you're on a high tariff suggests that you're supposed to be getting that 20 hours of power. So if you're not getting that, then you're going to get a refund. Now, that kind of tariff was set up because the sector wanted to give, have discos basically earn, their stripes. So if you're able to give your customers the right power supply and invest in giving them steady power, then you should be able to get as much, get the full cost reflective tariff that you're supposed to charge anyway. So if you're not metered, or even you're metered and you're that tariff and you're not getting, that level of power supply, I think that in no time you probably will be getting a refund. And so, perhaps you want to look out for that. On your second question, I'm not sure I got that very clearly. So maybe if you can type that into the box so I can just read it. The one on downward trend, I wasn't sure I got the question there. President on opportunities for women, there are plenty in Ikeja Electric. There are plenty of them. So I'm going to start. So I mentioned technology. We are basically a technology business. So if there are women here who have maybe startups that are into, technology, customer-driven startups, even if it's in the payment space, please, hook up with us. We would be interested in hearing from you and seeing what ideas that you have, or even if you can help us implement some of the big ideas that we have. So this is something that we're very interested in. Now, in terms of employability, analytics and analysts, in fact, from experience, I think a lot of our female analysts have actually done better than the men. I hope there are no guys here though, but there are a lot more female analysts that have done better than male. And these are people that we consider as very VIPs in Ikeja Electric. So we have employees that we don't like to mess around with, and analysts are one of them. And I think there's opportunity for women, because women are a bit more meticulous and they've got a better analytical mind. So if there are women out there, who are analysts of any kind, you don't have to even have experience in the power sector before, just that you're a very solid business analyst or you're someone into project management. I think there are opportunities all the time in Ikeja Electric. In terms of also, people who maybe, people who went to maybe didn't get opportunity to go to university or not very skilled. Meter installation, I mean, that probably is the biggest job creator today. We have about over 4 or 5 million meters to install in this country. Who's going to do them? We're not going to get people from China to come and install meters. It's got to be Nigerians. And this is huge job opportunity for people. So to install 1 million meters is not a joke. So, and you're not going to just have men do this. I think that there's huge opportunity for women here. And, for those who are in training, who maybe have training schools, I think I saw WIEN here as well. I think that their facility provides a very good ground, a breeding ground for women who want to go and, train how to be meter installers, train how to be meter installers. And you can work anywhere in this country. And it's a job that we don't think dies. The job never dies, because so long as, the sector is thriving, you're always going to need people to install meters. So it's just people are building new houses and expanding their meter installers. And then the older meters sometimes get obsolete, you got to replace them. So the meter installer. So it's actually a job that is very steady and I think the job that is well paying as well for women folks. Now, in terms of SMEs, women who are into SMEs and maybe looking for maybe growth opportunities, franchising is something that we've also introduced in Ikeja Electric. I think it was put it at some point in my slide. So franchising basically is today some of our customer care outlets that you see are not run by Ikeja Electric staff directly. These are things that will franchise out, just the same way telcos today would franchise out their locations that we don't know whether it's them or not. It's the same thing that we're doing as well, and we're doubling down on it this year. So the franchising opportunities, so if there are people who think they can manage, you're very good at managing customers or managing things like customer care, customer onboarding, enumeration. There's huge opportunities there, and these are things that we continue to look for. So I mean, I think that's as much as I can give. There are a lot more, but with these ones alone, they're just huge opportunities out there for women and even their husbands as well, if it's something that they want to opportunities they want to seize. Yeah, I think those are the questions, Folake, right?
Yes, right. I think you can respond to Asanimo in the chat box. She's put her question out there. Presido, you can see that the opportunities are plenty. One of us already, ETC Biana is already another, she's already working with Ikeja and the opportunities that she also can provide for other members. So Biana is not only me that is on the hot seat. We're on the hot seat together with regards creating these opportunities for the women in Energy Network. Ugochukwu, thank you very much for your time. I think that we have, we've enjoyed your session, even if I say so much. You have also shown us, the value of, technology and how that can help any business, not just the disco, any business that is actually in the power space, optimize, their performance, and of course, generally reduce their cost and achieve the objective of the nation, which is to increase power. So thank you very much for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so it's 8:22. My plan is to try and make sure that this ends at 8:30. And I think at this point in time, before I close, I don't know if the president has anything to say before I then do the closing. Is this for me? Anything from your end?
Oh, no, I think for me, it's been an amazing evening. We've heard a lot of the speakers showcase themselves, the good work that they're doing, new technology, opportunities, and I think at some point we were almost 100 people in this meeting. So the one thing that I would like to say is that all these opportunities that have been showcased here, I would like us to take advantage of them so that the point of these power meetings is fulfilled. You know, we come here, we learn, we network, we engage with each other, and we can carry on. So I think, you know, if, you know, at the end of this meeting, we can send the recording and contact details for how to take this forward for all of the speakers, that would be really great. So yeah, I think that's really all I have to say, just to thank everyone for coming out on Friday evening, and then to thank you, Folake, and the rest of the power team for such a wonderful power meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for always, you know, supporting and working behind the scenes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. So I would like to thank everyone that actually stayed from the beginning. There's some people I saw at the beginning. You're right. We're almost 100 at some point in time. You know, I was worried about keeping attention span. So to see that we're still at 52, that's not a bad number. So thank you everyone that has stayed and supported us. I hope that we've been able to impact some knowledge. And more important, we've shown the possibilities and the opportunities that exist for the women in Energy Network and even the men that have logged on to this call. I believe that if all of us try and explore and take advantage of this opportunity, it will improve not just our business operations, it would also help us help the economy today, because we all know how critical power is to the Nigerian economy. And of course, technology is a guaranteed step to ensure that there's improved efficiency. I also like to thank my chairman, the chairman of Ikeja Electric, chairman of our board. He's actually on this call, and he's a man, he supports women. I know he doesn't like that I'm doing this, but I really have to recognize his name, Mr. Additional, Mr. Cole Additional. Thank you so much for logging in at 5:18 and staying till the end. Thank you for that. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did, even if I say so myself. We've gotten a lot of insights today on how to have an effective, you know, digital transformation journey from a DISCO perspective, from a GENCO perspective, and, you know, from the power sector perspective. I don't think I really need to, I mean, I had some notes, you know, trying to summarize the different speakers' points, but that would just take some time, and I'm really conscious of people's time. Some people I know that want to go and have drinks. However, we all know to have an effective digital transformation journey, we need to breed a culture that supports transformation, very key, and that one that embraces change and innovation. And the truth is that if we could do it, for example, in Ikeja Electric, you heard what Martin said, you heard what Ifoma said, then all of us, you know, can embrace that culture or begin to develop that culture. As being VP Power in WIEN, I intend to definitely work with all the stakeholders in the sector to bring the opportunities that we've discussed today, and some of the opportunities I've not discussed today, to the women in Energy Network. So, President, please hold me to that, because I know that's what you are interested in. And I'm just very happy to be here. I'd like to thank the speakers especially for their time. I spoke to all of them, and as soon as I spoke to them, they were willing to, you know, come and spend time with us this evening. Thank you very much to our speakers. I'd like to thank, you know, Asanimo and the WIEN Secretariat and my team that helped tirelessly behind the scenes to make this happen. Bola Tito, Jake, Sekina, I mean, I hope I didn't leave anybody else, but thank you to everyone that is here today. And I just want to say thank you, and I hope that we all have a fantastic and beautiful weekend. And I commit, like I said, to ensuring that I create that opportunity, I mean, that is within my power. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the evening. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Bye.
Good night.